Hello, everyone. Welcome to I2C trainings. This is Business Analysis and Scrum course. We have an excellent agenda for you guys today, which I'll go over in a minute. We will go through a round of introductions, kind of give you an overview of what this course is all about. And mostly, I want to make this a very, very interactive session. So feel free to ask any questions, any general questions that you may have. Okay, so here's the agenda. There will be introductions, so I'll try and introduce myself, give you guys my background and my training experience, work experience, and so on. That will help you make a decision to go ahead with this training. And kind of give you an overview of the students that has trained with us in the past, and the students with different backgrounds and how they have been able to secure a job in this growing demand. Then we will also look into the current jobs and in IT, especially the business analysis, Scrum, and project management area. We will go over the roadmap of when you start this training, then you're a beginner, you have zero experience, and how you would build your career so that you have a vision of what you are getting into. Competitive comparison, why you want to get trained with us, especially me, what value do I bring to the table, and so on. So we'll discuss that. Course overview, this is where we will go over what this course entails, what the business analysis is all about, what are the key ingredients for you to be successful as a business analyst. And then we will determine next steps. While this is going on, please feel free to interrupt at any time, ask any questions that you may have. The sessions will start sharp at 8 o'clock Eastern time and would last for at least 1.5 to 2 hours every day. Maximum to 2 hours, but sometimes based on the subject complexity and the way the students are receiving and are able to absorb the information, we will determine whether it's going to be 1.5 to 2 hours. It's going to be a very rigorous training for 1 month, so which is starting today. So just bear in mind that it's going to be a rough month ahead for you. I'm going to start with the basics of business analysis and make it very, very interactive, try and make it very interesting, a learning experience for you all. That's my objective and that's my goal. Having said that, let me give you an overview about me. So my name is Fahim. I have a master's in computer science. I have quite a few certifications. And in addition to what you see as a Scrum trainer, and ITIL certified, MCAT, these are technological certifications, project management in PMO, and memberships with PMI, IIBA, which helps me keep up with the trend and all the latest technology trends, as well as management and analysis trends going on in the IT world. I'm a firm believer in continuous improvement and a firm believer in simplicity. So I'll try and make this training very, very simple for you. Mostly it's going to be interactive session, practical training. And I'm always looking to improve my style of training. And that's what I do at my current work assignments as well. I have a lot of experience, about 20 plus years of experience in IT. worked in different industries, financial, insurance, telecom, healthcare, to name a few, and worked in as a different job roles as a BA, as a project manager, as a portfolio manager who oversees many projects at a time, improvement specialist. So I have a vast experience of overall IT. So not only BA, so I kind of understand how the different roles will work, and in order to be a successful BA, what do you need to know and what you need to do to work with the other resources in IT as well as in the company with all your customers and your stakeholders. I'm passionate about helping people, and that's one of the reasons why I am here. My availability is, I'm in US based, I live in New Jersey, mostly available with WhatsApp. I'm very interactive with my students. And I have students who have, who reconnected with me after years of taking training. So I'm always available, either reachable via email or phone, if they need any guidance, or if they'd like to repeat the class, or if you have questions stuck in the career, what to do, or if they have come across a situation while working. So I'm all there to support for you to be successful in what you do. And all that comes as complimentary with, once you start training, take this training with us. Okay, so having said that, let's go around and quickly, if we can introduce yourself. What I need to know is just state your name, maybe your education background, and what you're trying to achieve in this training, or what made you, what attracted you to the BA training. So if you can give me maybe a minute or two introduction of yourself, that would be great. If you're muted, please go ahead and unmute yourself, and please introduce yourself.
I'll go first, Mr. Khan. This is Anjali from Novi, Michigan. I'm a personal banker. I'm just looking forward to change my career at this time. So I'm here in the class going to learn some stuff.
Excellent. Good to hear from you, Anjali. Welcome.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It's okay. Hi, my name is Falguni. I've done this class with Mr. Fahima before as well. I'm just trying to do a refresh course just to see if I wanted to get back into the groove of doing business analyst. I am the BA in science. I was born and raised in Philadelphia. Now I'm located out in Chicago. I'm doing a property manager positions for the last 10 to 12 years, but I was looking for change in the middle and trying to see if I can get back to it as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Falguni. Welcome back. Great to reconnect with you. And yeah, hope you enjoy this course one more time. Welcome.
Good, thank you.
Hi, my name is Sayed Wahab. I'm a student right now. I'm trying to get into BA. So this is my first class with FameBuy. Thank you, FameBuy.
Excellent. Wow, welcome. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Mansoor here. I'm the old student from Mr. Fahim in IC2s. And in this career, when I have changed, I started last year with the business analyst course. And thankfully, I have been getting into job in IT recruitment. So I'm in placing accounts manager role in IT firm. So this course really helped me to understand the IT knowledge, and I want to learn more in depth. So along with FameBuy. So thank you very much for coming here again.
Excellent, Mansoor. Thank you. Thank you for reconnecting. and I look forward to having you in my class. With that, right, as you can see, there are people with so many different backgrounds. So business analysts, to be a successful business analyst, it takes you dedication and hard work and practical experience. And of course, with zero experience, you'll be able to secure a great job as a business analyst. So background doesn't really matter. What matters is how you are able to analyze things, how you're able to, think about and absorb and understand problems, and work with the IT department, information technology department, to provide solutions, which we will go over in the next few sessions. But that's the gist of being a business analyst. Thank you, guys. Anyone else I missed? Okay, I would take it as no. All right, so what our students have to say, these are just a couple of samples reviews. There's a lot of reviews on our website, i2ctraining.com, with different background, people with different background and so on, and how they have been, successfully working as a BA. This class is basically for college graduates, IT professionals who are trying to change the career, homemakers, entrepreneurs, part-time jobs, teachers, salesperson, therapists, or anyone from the medical background. In the past, we had people who actually started getting into the medical degrees, but for some reason were not able to pursue that, and they came into IT, got trained, and were able to get the job. One thing, a word of caution, right? Not everybody is successful in securing a job as a BA who takes the training. So I can tell you right about, I can easily and strongly make that statement in the first class itself. What I have seen with so many years of my training experience and work experience, unless you are dedicated and unless you have done some hands-on experience, you will not be able to secure a job or clear the interviews that you have. Many interviews nowadays are situational interviews. So it's not like, okay, I know this topic and I'm going to talk about it. They're going to give you a situation and ask you to, okay, how would you solve this problem? How would you solve that problem? So taking the training with me, I'm going to give you lots of that with my problems that I've faced in so many years in IT, not only related with BA, also with project management and so on, because everything is kind of linked together. So this will give you an overview and will prepare you to answer any questions and so on that you will face during the interviews. And you need not worry about the interview preparation and all that, because that all comes in as a package. There will be mock interviews, as many as you want, once the training is over or while the training is still coming to an end. So that you get lots of practice, and I can give you feedback what areas you still need to improve on, or what hands-on experience you still need to get. All right, so these are again a few examples of how our different students actually came in and took the training with us. They were recruiters, they were students, they were entrepreneurs, they were working in as a developer, different areas of IT, but now switching the career into BA because to have a perfect work-life balance and so on. So there are many advantages for getting into the business analyst, being a business analyst. And that's the reason why many people actually change their career, even being in IT as well. Okay. Job boards, which I'm going to show you in a minute, a quick comparison, right? For business analysts, there's always, this is just within a state or specific states. This is an ever-growing field. So being a developer, there are so many different technologies that people have to learn, and technologies change like every few months. So it's a huge learning curve that you will be facing like every couple of months, not so in a business analyst. So that's the biggest advantage that you have. Even testers. So if you learn manual testing, you will be tasked to get into automation and learn new tools, which should kind of demonstrate when I'm going through the job boards. So it's always a huge advantage of being a business analyst because there are plenty of jobs and the demand is ever growing. Okay. So before I move on to the next slide, please feel free to ask any questions that are coming to your mind. No question is basic or complex. Feel free, make it an interactive session. Treat me as your friend, a trainer, and ask any question that is coming to your mind. Interrupt me at any time. Okay. So this is the process. So stage one, the demo, I'm giving you a demo, taking you over again of what a BA does and responsibilities of BA, what jobs are there, why you should get into BA and so on. And once you are convinced this is the way to go, link will be sent by our admin tomorrow for you guys to register. It is not a free training, but if it is a repeated class, it's definitely a free training for us. Like I said in the beginning, you can repeat these classes as many times as you want, more than welcome. But for new students, there is a fee involved of $500 for all the sessions, and I'll kind of go over what is included and what's not. So you'll be enrolled in training. Like I said, the class actually started today. It's kind of demo, but I'm going to cover some of the basics of BA. Quality training will be provided, and we will be doing a progress monitoring, assignments and quiz exams. Of course, your feedback on how is it going with you? Are you able to absorb and digest the information being, discussed in these sessions and so on. So I kind of, tailor my training assignments and lectures and kind of make sure the pace is okay with all the students with different backgrounds. When you are ready for applying for job, I'll help you with your resume updates, preparation, and of course, all the job prep and mock interview sessions, and we'll try and do your marketing. So for marketing, you are not under any obligation to just go and work with us as a contractor. You can work for any company. There is no contract or anything like that. So you can work for any country any company, and that'll keep your options wide open. For the placement, we will do the background checks and paperwork and anything that is required. And of course, we will not, once the training is over, we will not just, let you deal with the situation. So we will prepare you for what you need to do for your first job and how you need to sustain the job, and anything that is needed, we will support you. Basically, I'm here to support you as long as you're needing my support. A word of caution. So let's say you join a job and your support requirements becomes like, I need like 3 hours or 2 hours of support every day. That may not be possible, but with a mutual understanding that can also be arranged, but a few minutes of call here and there once a week or twice a week or guidance. Okay, I'm getting into this meeting, what should I say, how should I prepare, and so on. All those would be complementary. Career growth, I'll work with you to grow your career and make sure you are being successful. Is there any newcomers that joined that we didn't hear from them? Okay, so company reliability is just a little comparison of there are many student institutes out there that are providing this kind of training. But I want you to be assured that we are here with, this is, years old company, well established, and we are US based, based out of New Jersey. We are an E-Verified company, and we have a lot of partnership with many IT firms. So this training, of course, is going to be hands-on, basically, and there are a few products or applications that we will actually go through. If we don't have a license to provide to you, we are going to help you get a free trial that is needed for 2 weeks or 4 weeks. And once that trial expires, you can always get another trial until you get, good experience on that. My background, my profile is on LinkedIn and everything. So I'm a working professional. So that's, I do this trainings only in the evening. So that's how I'm hands-on. I'm currently fully involved in what are the recent technologies and the trends and so on, what it takes to be a successful VA, not like 5 years ago, but currently on today's market. Schedule in-depth training, interactive training, I would say. And this time we're giving, a $50 discount for folks who will be able to join us, and job preparation, marketing process, job support, and repeat training, career development, and so on, which we already discussed. Okay, so before I head into the curriculum or the roadmap, I'd like to kind of share with you guys a few things. Okay, so I want to kind of show you, and feel free to ask any questions if that pops up in your mind. So DICE is one of the biggest job boards, mostly for contracting, consulting jobs, but then there are many other job boards that people look for when they're finding a job. So if I'm doing a business search on a business analysis, right, and I do countrywide search, so we come across like 23,091 jobs, right? So, but if you notice, there are jobs with RPA, with business analysis, business analytics manager. So you don't want to get into manager roles at this point, but you need to look for business analysis. So here, technical writer, business analysis, that's of your interest. The business analysis, that's of your interest. So let's look at one of them that came in like 4 hours ago, so that you kind of guys get. So that's your normal range. What I've seen for the beginners, 60K to 100K or 110K for beginners is a decent salary to start with, especially with zero experience. Once you have experience, these salaries tend to go about 150 to 160K just for business analysts. But while you're doing business analysis, the training you're getting is also a little bit of management. So management roles with BA would put you into 180, 190K bracket, okay, with all the other benefits that are out there, okay? So I want you to kind of look closely on the demand, because I firmly believe that you need to be aware of what the demand is. And then you kind of go with that flow and kind of prepare yourself in training and meet that demand. Okay. So if you are able to at least absorb or keep in mind 10 or 15% of what's here, then when I'm going through the curriculum, it will kind of make sense. Oh, that's what Fahim is going to train us on. Okay. So this job is looking for gathering business functional and non-functional requirements. We'll go over what these details later on. Explore and help discover patterns, meaningful relationship and data entities. Defining product themes, epics, user stories, and product features. So defining this user stories, and this is nothing but something called agile methodology. So the way projects are run or executed in IT, we use something called methodology. Methodology is nothing but a strategy of way of running a project and so on. So there you will hear these two buzzwords in BA world or in IT world or in any company: waterfall methodology and agile methodology. So what these terms listed here is something called agile methodology and user stories. At this point, I want you to register in your mind at this point that user stories are nothing but requirements, okay, requirements from the business. Let me pause here and give you a 30-second view of what is the gist, what is the bulk of work that a business analyst would do. Business analyst would walk into a company and basically understand the problems a company is facing. A company can face a problem where, let's say, it's a paper-driven process, right? All the applications are being written on a piece of paper, and then it's taking that information and being moved from one desk to another and so on, getting approvals and all that. And that process is taking maybe 8 to 9 days for the application to be either accepted or rejected or approved and so on. So the company is, let's say the demand is huge. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're DMV. You go for driver's license, you go for registration and so on. There was a process at some point where people would fill in forms and so forth and wait in line and put that information in and come back and collect the information after 3 days and so on. But now you walk into that DMV as a business analyst, what you're doing is you're understanding and kind of getting a practical exposure by observing what happens in step number 1, what happens in step number 2, what verification is done, and where the time is being spent, where the errors, where are there room for errors, and how do we minimize and get rid of all this and make it, basically it's improve our process, cut down processing time, and of course, many companies, what they're looking for, okay, increase our revenue. So a business analyst, if you want, you can understand in one statement. A business analyst understands the problems of a company or your client, and then tries to come up with a solution with technology and by working with the business and with the IT department. So technology can be, all right, we need an application for doing this. We need to build a website for doing this. We need to improve our network infrastructure. We need to create Wi-Fi within this facility. So there are many aspects, many things that can be, discovered and suggested to do as in a project to make that happen. And that's what a BA is all about. So understand the problem, provide a solution, and then move on, help the company. Okay. And please feel free to ask any questions at any point you don't understand. Prioritization sessions, product backlog, again, is agile methodology, which we will go over. So backlog, for now, just register as it's a list of requirements. Okay, so for example, you take a paper-based form and I say, let's digitalize this form. That is a requirement that you have. Facilitating sprint planning sessions, that is also part of agile. Documenting requirements, being creative thinker to solve application issues, right? That's where you're solving problems, but you are not solving the problem all by yourself. You're understanding, you're documenting what the problem is, then you're working with your IT team, and they are the ones who will provide the solution. Okay, and then you make sure you understand that and you put it in front of the customers. Mediating business unit that may have conflicting requirements. So if there are in a company, there are, let's say, a financial department and an accounting department. A financial department would say, well, I need a report in this format. I want to see these things summarized or grouped by or whatever. An accounting department may say, well, I want a different format. So you're good as a BA, you're going to understand both their problems, try to understand what value each of those requirements have, and then work with them so that they come to terms with what that requirement is going to be. So you're kind of, helping them and leave it to their discretion. Hey, work it out and let us know what works for you. But you have to help them and explain to them, understand both the situations. And sometimes IT or a BA would actually propose, how about getting it done in this way? We'll address your problem this way a little bit and your problem, and kind of meet in the middle way. Any questions so far? Okay. Assisting in translation into technical specifications. Facilitating and document as is and to be process flows. This example I just gave you. So when you walk into a company, you're documenting like what happens step 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're trying to come up with a better process. Okay, this is all paper-based. Now I'm going to create a website where the user can go and submit the form and so on. You go to a fitness club or a gym nowadays, that you can just go in and enter your information and then all that information is quickly passed on, and you go through the approval process and so on, as opposed to, fill out applications and so on. Okay, same thing with ordering in restaurants, kiosks, and everything. Many things have, changed and advanced. All that is to help minimize the errors when things are handwritten and avoid, confusion, and of course to make the process very, very fast, increase revenue. So sometimes when some companies processing, let's say, 50 mortgage applications in a day, they're looking to, all right, how can we process double that, right? We cannot do that with our current manual process. So now we need the help of IT, help of a BA to understand our current problem, understand what we currently do, and what needs to be done to meet that goal. Writing test cases and scripts to validate code is working. So basically, when a project is done, or when the code or development is done. So let's say I create a website. we just went through, excuse me, dice.com, right? And we searched. So let's say this was a website that was being created or developed, and the requirement was, let's say the user said, whoever owns Dice, they said, well, I need a field for my users to type in what they're looking for and also put in the search location. So before this releases into production or is put in front of general public, you need to make sure all these things are working properly. And in order to make sure that things are working properly, we cannot rely completely on the development team. They might have made a mistake or missed something that they thought is working, but when it goes live in front of people, it's not working. So for that reason, test cases are written by testers, a role called testers, to validate everything is working. And they come up with different scenarios. So how they will test, they will put in business analysis, they will put in Java developers, they'll put a different combination. They'll put one city, many cities, multiple cities, and they'll try with postal code. So those are all called test cases. Okay, they'll put a case scenario and then they'll test it out to ensure, and trust me, they find many, many issues, and that's why the tester role is also into existence in IT. Okay, so jobs are many, and now what I also wanted to show you is, let's say Indeed, another job board. Okay, so let's say technical BA. Okay, so what are their requirements? And okay, this is new. There are like 39,212 jobs as a BA, okay, in East Brunswick, New Jersey. So collaborates and coordinates on a required testing validation. So that's your collaboration, test cases and all that. Ensures issues are identified, tracked, reported, analyzed. Complete documentation, project use cases, requirements, test plans, and so on. Decompose high-level information into details. Those are your requirements. And what this requirement is looking for 2 to 5 years of experience. SDLC is software development lifecycle. That's the waterfall and agile methodology we talked about, and 1 to 3 years of experience. What I want you to be assured is what I have seen is many a times when employers are are putting this minimum qualifications, and when you send the resume and you get a chance for an interview, if you have excellent knowledge and you have a huge amount of practical exposure that you're going to get in this training, there is always a compromise employers are willing to make. Okay, so basically think of you as put yourself in the employer's shoe. What happens is, if I as an employer want to hire you for my project, I want to make sure work will be done. I want to make sure my project is successful. For that reason, when I'm talking to you, when I'm interviewing you, I'm going to say, all right, you don't have experience. All right. Do you understand what is SDLC? Do you understand what it takes to work in this methodology? Do you understand how to interact? Do you know what you need to do as a BA to make me and my project successful? That's what I'm looking for. So if you are able to compensate that, convince me of that, then many times I've seen, and I do that myself also when I'm interviewing people, I compromise. And I have also noticed the people who have 2 to 5 years of experience may not be qualified for the position that I'm trying to recruit for. maybe a fresh mind, maybe a person who has the ability to think, analyze the situation, and is hardworking and diligent enough to document that, work with IT, has good communication skills to work as a successful BA. That's all it takes. Okay. And let's look at one more and then we'll jump back into that. And their salary is 35. As you can see, the range is huge. So 75 times 2,000, like that would put you into like 150, 160K range. Say here, qualifications, if you notice, relevant 1 year. So basically he's saying, I really don't care whether you have good experience as a BA or not. I'm more focused on, are you able to do my work, right? So demonstrates clear working knowledge, okay, concepts and techniques that you're going to learn in this. So if you're able to understand, you're able to do practically what I'm telling you to do, you're able to do the, homework, assignments, stay on top of it, and understand this SDLC, milestones, and all these things we are going to go over. Identify resources needed and so forth. Okay. So that's your another example of what they are looking for. Another thing I want you to be aware, if you go, where is my experience level? So let's say, hey, I don't have any experience. And this is a question I face all the time. Will I get a job? I have zero experience. Some companies, they don't require the experience. They're looking for, okay, do you have the potential to be a BA? So as you can see, there's 6 stars. I'm not saying each and every job would be zero experience. Sometimes, the way all these job boards work is a little tricky. But I would say like 75% of these jobs would be zero experience required, right? So, of course, the salary offers will still be decent. So once you take the training with us, it's not any binding on you to, hey, you should still work only with I2C, training company and get a job through them. You can, apply, and I'm going to help you build a resume. And what we can also do, there are some internal projects within the company, there are upgrades going on and so on. So as an intern experience and kind of hands-on experience, you're more than welcome to join any of those internal projects. Okay, after you sign a some kind of confidentiality agreement, you're more than welcome to join that as well. Okay, so that is an exposure that you will get. So let's swing back into our slides. Okay, so where were we? Okay, so before I start, giving you an overview of this, is there any question anybody has? Please feel free to ask. Okay, I would take it as no. So why business analyst? Challenge. So this is how this course is going to start, right? Challenges faced by a BA. What does a BA do? Job opportunities, which we already have seen. Prerequisites for BA, skills required. So prerequisites, I would say just 2 things I need from you to turn you guys into successful BAs. 1, I need your dedication. So it's like you are, on board a flight, fasten your belt and make sure you're fully into the flight and you're working your way up. So I want you to be fully dedicated, think that, work with your families, friends, and everyone. Hey, I am into this course. I am dedicating my precious time and money. So I must learn each and everything about BA. So try your best and you will be successful. And like I said before, those students who come to the class, sit and are not able to keep up with the assignments, or many times they have, bless you, many times they skip the classes and so on. So you will not be successful doing that, right? So you have to definitely, it's one of the easiest way or an area to get into IT. And IT world is huge. A lot of jobs, especially nowadays, remote jobs are plenty. So you can work as a business analyst, you can work from home as well. There are a lot of flexibility that the IT departments are providing to the resources. It's a great opportunity to be in and build your career. So you start off as a junior BA, zero experience, then you get into 1 or 2 years of experience as a BA, then you slowly get into as a project manager, and then you're unstoppable. So you can get into director and senior roles. So for that, just the dedication and listen to me and work with me and complete your assignments on time, which will be reasonable, because I totally understand everybody has their own commitments, their daily commitments, but you have to, go above and beyond to make this happen, right? So you have to kind of build your schedule and make sure you're devoting time to this course as well. Then only you'll be successful. So we will learn organization, what different domains are, what are the different companies, the departments, IT, how an organization is structured, what are the resources, how different roles and responsibilities are there. As a business analyst, communication skills are very important. So you have to, if you have not been doing this in your career, in your life, and so on, so start from today. Pay attention to detail. Whenever you're writing an email, make it thorough. Set up Grammarly, on your web browser. So all your spelling mistakes and grammar and everything is being, checked. So try to be as thorough, as perfect as possible, right? And be observant, right? Let's say you go on a, few hours to a supermarket or your child's school or wherever. Be observant and try and come back and say, all right, what did I do? What did I see? Is there any room for improvement? You go visit, a public place. Let's say you went to the local municipal office or any office. Okay, I had to wait there 2 hours. You went to your doctor's office. Oh, they made me wait like 1.5 hours. Why? What was the problem? Is there any way I, as a business analyst, would have or have the opportunity to improve them? So start thinking on those lines with your day-to-day activity. Okay, that will give you a broader understanding what BA is all about. Okay, and communication, of course, or you'll get all the practical exposure, how to set up meetings, how to create emails, and so on. Okay, then we will learn what a project is. Okay. So what is a project overall? So what are the important things in a project? Can anyone help me, with 1 or 2 things, what you think? Let's say I want to get a house built for me. Maybe let's say a single family house. It's a project. So what is important in a project?
I would say getting all the details together for the client.
Excellent. Great answer. Get the details of, how many bedrooms you want and so on. So that becomes your requirement as a BA. So let's say you're a BA and you want to gather information. So imagine BA equal to the construction guy or builder, if I may say, who's actually understanding your needs and listening to you. Is there anything else that's important in a project?
Right team members, like right departments or right team persons that you need to make sure that you're hiring the right person for the job or for the project.
Excellent answer. Yeah, the right team members. So translate that into the IT world or in companies, right? So you want to have the right resources. Let's say you all are great BAs on a project, excellent BAs, great communication skills, nicely, well-trained and so on. But you have the resources who are actually going to do the work. They are like, rookies. They are like, okay, we don't have any experience of doing this. We don't know how to solve this problem. They started building a website. They ran into a technical issue. Now they don't know. They don't know how to solve a problem. So they don't have a mix of right resources, some senior, some mid-level, and then junior, certified, and so on. So absolutely great point. Right resources with right knowledge and so on. Anything else that is needed in a
Budget
success?
and timeline.
Excellent. Timeline is extremely important. So you want to get a house done. The first thing the builder is going to ask you, okay, when do you need it by? Right? So if you say I need it in 6 months, he's going to try and start formulating, okay, how many resources would I need to make that happen? And he's going to come back with that plan, right? But if you say, well, I have 2 years of time, then answer is going to be a little different, right? So timeline in a project is very, very important. So in IT world or any company, there are hundreds of projects going on in a year, right? Which are IT projects, and they're all different timelines based on the priorities. The projects are selected within the company, within the IT for the current year, right? So timeline is very, very important. Great answer. Anything else that we are missing in a project?
Budget.
Beautiful answer. So budget is very important. So if you say, well, I need a house, okay, what's your budget? You go, try and, want to customize a car that you want to buy. I say, all right, what is your budget? So if you say, well, my budget is 50K, then they will say, all right, I don't think you can customize a, luxury car. You're better off, just buying a car that is, ready to be, bought. But if you want to customize, maybe so budgeting is very, very important, what you want. And that actually determines how many resources, what resources can be selected and so forth. So these are the things that you will learn when you are doing or understanding more of the project. And of course, the project methodology, whether you're going to do in waterfall. Waterfall, by the way, is the old methodology, the traditional methodology. So we'll do a lot of comparison between waterfall and the improvements that Agile and Scrum, and there's another framework called Kanban. All these words will sound Greek to you right now. That's why I'm not taking a deep dive into it. But these are project methodologies, how projects will be executed, what happens first in requirement, then what happens next is design, then construction, development, testing. So we will go through all that so that you get a good understanding of that. That we will go into the requirements, what are business requirement, functional, technical, flow chart, swim lanes, and so forth. So just to give you an idea what a flow chart is, all right, let's do what do we do? The first thing start. When we enter into office, what is the first process that needs to be done? Maybe fill out a paperwork or enter your information on an iPad or digital pad or whatever. So you're trying to put that visually so that anyone looking at that one-page flowchart, they understand, oh, this is the first thing happened, second thing happened, and so on. So we'll try and do some use cases, flowcharts, and swim lanes together. Then there are techniques that you're going to learn in requirement gathering. Okay, so in any process, when even in your education, you need to learn techniques and different ways of doing things. What way should I apply and based on the situation? So we're going to learn all that, and testing, what the testing team does, what is the test plan, how a test case is written. RTM is again requirement traceability matrix and so on. We'll learn a little bit about databases. BA is not supposed to be technical. BA not kind of know how to kind of do it, but in order for you to be successful, you need to understand a little bit, or at least have a conceptual understanding of what technologies you're dealing with. So if a company cannot survive without a database is nothing but a container. Think of it as a container, which is having, your customers, their invoicing, their orders, their sales, and so forth. A lot of information that is useful for any company, right? So what does it take? What is this database? How this is actually done? So some of the things you will learn, and you should learn, and we'll have practice. It's very interesting. At the same time, it's not really too technical for you, so that it gets bogged down and kind of lose the focus as a BA. But a little bit of exposure is important. That's why we put that in the course. And we will actually be doing 1 or 2 projects in this training. So you will actually be, gathering the requirements, go around and make sure you're documenting some requirements. So to give you a sense of what assignments you'll be doing, right? So let's say there are like 150 requirements that needs to be done in a 6-month IT project. But during this training, you're only going to do 5 or 6. So that enough to assure yourself and me that, okay, you understand, and you know how to do 150 requirements when the need comes, right? So that's what we're trying to do here. And we'll create the backlog, which is a list of requirements, test cases. We'll learn tool called Jira. There are different products that you'll be using as a BA, which will, help you get access to it. And of course, you will actually be presenting to the class what your project is. No different than, when you were in your education and so on. So that will give you an ability to talk and present your work in front of other people, and kind of understand, get a feel of, what the customers would be, how they will be receiving the information, and how you need to improve. So I'm going to try and help you with all that. Some of the tools that you'll be learning is Salesforce, very, very popular, Tableau, Jira, Balsamiq, and so these are some of the tools that are very common and very popular in the IT world that you should have an exposure. And these are great tools that I found it very, very interesting, very easy to learn. And once you start doing those exercises that they have, in few steps, you'll say, wow, I've done something technically as well. So that will give you a good understanding. But if you are not able to thoroughly understand or the concept of Tableau, or not able to fully complete that exercise, well, no big deal. It is okay. right? But at least you should get exposure to that. Like that, there are a few other tools which Power BI is another tool that I have added to my list. So basically what I do is, even though some things are not listed here, I will add it to the course and talk about it, right? Based on the demand, I'm gonna maneuver or fine tune my course curriculum. Domain knowledge, of course, healthcare, there are many. So you're working in a healthcare industry, or you're working in retail, or you're working in hospitality industry, insurance, or you need to have some exposure of financial industry, of what is all this, what is the SOX, what are the HIPAA requirements, and so you need to have some exposure on that. So we'll go through that. There will be mock interviews. There will be a full, I think, 65 to 70 questions exam. And of course, I'll be working as your kind of a school teacher. I'll be taking attendance and so forth. So I want to make it a very, very pleasant, enjoyable experience for you all. Lot of interactive talking. Today, what I'm not doing is, usually I have habit of my style is I ask questions. So I ask basic questions and so forth. So feel free to answer or say, well, I have no clue, I don't understand. And that way I know where I need to help you more. Otherwise, I won't know, right? So that's my style. And of course, your assignments and everything will also give me a whole lot of exposure on how well you're absorbing the information. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So this is, you are so important in a company. This is your IT world, okay, within the IT information technology department. So you are interacting with all these different roles within the IT department. That's how important you are. Why? Because you are the one who's working very, very closely with your business users or your stakeholders or your customers, different names, right? To understand what is their problem and what they're going through, what is their as-is situation. And then you're communicating that to all these technical folks. You're kind of a bridge between your stakeholders and your IT resources. Okay. So having said that, who can tell me what testers do? In one line, one word, whatever you understand, or from what do they do?
Write the test cases and test whatever the developers have made.
Excellent answer. Yeah, so that's why, in order for a project to be successful, you need testers, right? What does users do? Or your stakeholders or customers, what do they do in an IT project?
Give us the problem that
Excellent answer. Give your state what their problem is, what are the difficulties they're facing, what is there, and where they want to be, and so on. And once you give them the solution, they're actually testing before they put it in front of public or start using it. There is a whole lot of testing going on by the users. They don't trust the IT testers. So there are two kind of testing going on in a project. One, testing by the testers. And then once they're done, the users will also test the system. And you will be surprised that there will be so many issues found by the users that were not caught by the testers. Why? Because the testers might have misunderstood the requirement and tested in a way that users would not test. So when users test, there will be a lot of issues discovered from their end. And that is being reported, and then the developers have to fix it, and then the testers will test it again, then give it to users to make sure it is working as per their need. Okay. Who can tell me what a project manager does? Any clue?
So a project manager will also work in conjunction with the BA and getting the budget set up, timeline, getting the resources and everything to make that project work and get it delivered.
Excellent answer. I like it. So project management basically is manage the whole show from start to finish, right? And there are a couple of roles that are in alignment with project management nowadays with agile methodologies called Scrum Master, Product Owner, which we will go over all those things. But project manager, like you rightly said, it's actually managing the whole show, making sure the resources are doing their work, timelines are not getting missed, project is being done on budget. By the way, there are, I would say, 90% of the projects go above the budget and miss the timelines, I would say. If you Google it, and that's what the survey does. So it's very, very difficult. Can anyone tell me why a project would go miss a timeline? Just think of construction of a house. Why would a project miss a timeline and not get delivered on time?
As of right now, there's like less number of resources available in the market. And as you said, even if companies get a resource, there can be rookies and
Right.
newcomers and a lot of technical errors and things like that will make that project to be delayed or not.
Got it. Great point. Anyone else? Why a project would be delayed?
So if any of the stories have extra bugs in them or something like that, where it's delaying the other technicians or something like that, the more time is spent on one story compared to another story. And that's how things get delayed.
Beautiful answer. So when issues are found, the work was not done as per the need and the requirements, now you have to redo it. Yes, definitely. Great point. Anyone else? Why a project can delay?
When the stories are not fully groomed.
Okay, so just to explain that a little bit for the sake of the other listeners. So what he means is fully groomed is add
Maybe that
attention to detail. A lot of details are not added, so it's not really clearly understood what needs to get done. Right? Did I understand that right?
Yeah. Maybe missing dependencies are,
Sure. Makes sense.
all these actually items also contribute to the project delays.
Perfect point. Thank you. Anything else?
And if the clients, the users add something in the middle of the project, like, now they want to do some other work also along with, is it possible? Like, I'm not sure on that one, but.
Excellent answer. This is Anjali, right?
Yes.
Excellent answer. So that's the answer I was looking for. Also, in addition to all the great answers I just heard. So change is one of the biggest factor of delaying the project. So let's say you are constructing a house. You say, Falguni says, well, I need a 5-bedroom house and I did this. And after a month or so, Falguni goes back and says, oh, by the way, I also need a swimming pool in there. Right? So, or something changed. Oh no, that's not what I want. Or when things are coming along, she says, oh no, that's not, I didn't envision that to be this way. I need you to make this change and do it this way, right? So that's a biggest factor of change. And that's one of the reasons why waterfall methodology is not kind of working out in IT or in companies. That's why many companies have switched over or transitioned into agile methodology, which we will discuss a lot in detail. But change is one of the biggest factor that is causes the delay, as well as going over the budget. And it's not easy. So translate that construction of a house into IT world. So let's say you're creating that website, dice.com, right? And you have a requirement, oh, well, I need a search box, I need this, right? The developers actually did all that work for, let's say, 5 weeks of coding and, testing in their own way, all kind of combinations and everything. Now the user comes back and say, oh, by the way, I need one more text box here. So now the developer has to go back, put their mind and energy into something that they have done like 6 weeks ago, and make sure they test all the scenarios after adding that additional box. So it's not an easy thing to do going back. And that's one of the reasons why things when changed at the last minute, when closing to go live, people are in a rush many times. They test it, but they're not able to thoroughly test all the combinations that the developer might have tested or the testers might have tested if no change was there. But what change actually brings in, a risk of issues surfacing once it is put in front of the public. So in my experience, even Amazon or some websites are already in public. Sometimes you get an error. All of a sudden, oh, why am I getting an error? And you call them and you report it to them. Oh, that is a scenario that was not tested thoroughly or missed by the developer. So these things are very common. And that's why you have IT resources supporting production. So there are people who are actually supporting issues. So they actually immediately jump on it, try to solve the problem, fix the code wherever it needs to, and quickly put that back in production because the website is already live. Okay, great answers. But BA role is very important, and we will go through all these different roles because you're interacting with them. And of course, sponsor is your business sponsor who's actually paying for the product. Sometimes it's the department, sometimes it's one person, the head of the department. It could be, the claims department in an insurance company or stuff like that. Okay, so what does a BA do on a typical day? So documentation. One thing I'd like to mention here. Documentation, you create the business requirement document, functional requirement, traceability, and so on. With Agile and Scrum methodology, right, there is less and less documentation requirement on the focus. So most of the requirements are now like 2 or 3 lines with some attention to details, specifications for the developer to understand and do it. So we will try and create, some of these documents just to make sure we understand. But we will focus mostly on the current demand of business analyst, which is Agile and Scrum. So we will be more focused on writing user stories, epics, and requirements, and so on. Current and future state, how do you do that? What techniques you apply, and so forth. Requirements, how do you go about collecting requirements? What are the different ways of requirements? You're listening and all that. Requirements change management. How do you manage a change? So like we just discussed, Anjali said, well, something changed. So how do you manage that change? What does BA have to do? What the developer has to do? What the project manager has to adjust in his budget and his time? So all that has to be managed properly and communicated properly to the stakeholders of the delay and so on. And working with, how do you work with stakeholders to set priorities? What if they give you 90 requirements and say, all right, get this done, all are important? Well, all cannot be important. So how do you work with them to say, all right, please help me understand what is the most important, what is the little less important, and so on. So high, medium, critical. So we are trying to, go through that exercise. We'll do a bit of project management, schedule, how we'll create a project plan and so on. And we will write test cases, which BA does. Assisted writing, right? But not, so let's say a tester has written 20 test cases. So they will send it over to you. Hey, BA, can you please, do a random check to make sure I'm writing the test cases properly. So you look at test case number 1, test case number 9, 18, and you call it a day, right? You don't have to validate each, and that's not your responsibility, but that's their responsibility. But at the end of the day, you understand what the business need, what the requirement is, and so on. So you are in the best position to, something is done and developed. Let's say that dice.com website is done. You know the requirement. You go in and you type in, those into those fields and make sure that it's meeting the requirement. Right, that's what I do as to be a successful BA. Kind of, test it before I put it in front of my users. Working with training resources, so they will ask you, how to create user manuals and so on. And testing, sometimes I already went over that. Meetings, what are the good days to set up meetings? What should be the agenda? How do you set it up? How do you do meeting minutes? All those things you will actually be doing in a form of exercise and assignments. And release notes, we'll talk about that later. Let me know if anyone has any question. So next steps. So you all are have registered, and this is your first step to your success. That's, fully making up your mind to join business analysis as your career. That's half of the battle won. So the next thing that you have to just plan out, dedicate yourself, immerse yourself. That's always my approach, right? Whatever you do, right, immerse yourself in it. Even though, let's say I'm working in a company XYZ, right? Instead of complaining, well, this company doesn't have this, I try to make the best usage of whatever is available for me and try to make it the best while I'm there, right? So this is your opportunity. This is your class. Make full use of it. Ask 100 questions. You listen to so many things today. When the class starts tomorrow, bombard me with, oh, you mentioned this, you mentioned that. How does that work? How does this work? I didn't understand that. So that's your immersing. You're actually bonding with this course. So unless you do that, you give your 110%, you will not be fully successful, right? So give your 110%, okay? Go above and beyond to, I'm kind of raising the bar, so accept it as a challenge and go with it. Start your classes, which is starting tomorrow, even if like there are whatever the number of students join. I'm not a trainer who would look for that. So I will start the class tomorrow, and because I'd like to respect everybody's time, so I don't want to prolong or well, we'll start next week and so on. Demo just to know. I'm going to start from tomorrow and help you guys out and make it as interesting as possible. So be dedicated, right? Achieve your goal. Any questions? Now is your opportunity to ask as many questions as you want. Okay, I would take it as no, but
Quick question, Fahim.
Please go ahead.
So every day, 8 p.m. EST, class would be hour and a half, correct?
hour and a half. Sometimes based on the class, it might go a little bit beyond, but we will use the discretion and kind of determine whether it'll go a little bit beyond 1.5 hours. If not, we'll try and wrap up within 1.5 hours, because that's, I think, the max threshold of how people would be able to absorb.
Perfect. And
How many days in the week were the schedule for?
So it's going to be Monday through Thursday, 4 days, because I want to reserve Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for your assignments and so forth. So it's going
Sounds
to be
good.
4 days, 1.5 hours each session minimum. But if it is interesting, some people want to stay beyond. I don't have any problem. I love to train. I love to talk to people, answer, help. So if you need some additional questions, whoever wants to stay can stay further and then participate in that discussion. Not a problem. Okay, I see some chat. Let me open this. Okay. Okay, all right, Sam, definitely I will ping you and so that we can answer any other questions that you may have. Any other questions that I can help people or anyone answer? So just one request from my end, try and join the class on time. Please set a timer on your cell phones or whatever. This way you're respecting everybody's time, because it's people have families, children, and so on. So I'd like to start the class on time, but if you join late, it'll I'll have to recap many things. So please try and join the class on time. If for any reason something came up and well, I tried my best, I'm not able to join a class on Thursday, please let me know in advance. Recorded sessions will be there. Make sure you listen to the recording and you come back and say, oh, okay, I listened to the recording. Can I ask a question now, or can we have another few minutes? I'll be more than happy to address, because it's life. Things do come up, but keep me informed, keep me, communicated, as opposed to, hey, not showing up at all or something like that. Okay.
so on that note, Fahim, are you going to share the recordings every day, or is it going to be in?
It's going to be in a folder. Please feel free to. I think if you guys have all my email, share me your Gmail. I usually create a folder on Gmail, and every time a class is done, a recording goes up there, and all the recordings will be in one place. Okay, great question. All right, any other question that anyone has?
Fahim, can I stay on the class? What's it called? After the call, can I have a conversation with you?
After today?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Definitely, will do. All right, so if no other questions, we will wrap up the session. And just a recap, if you have questions, of course, I'm going to call Sam and Falguni, but go ahead and do the registration. I'll get the accounting to send you the registration link for payment or whatever the formalities are. And we can go ahead and get started. Thank you all. Thank thank you for your time. It was excellent and a pleasure talking to you all, and I welcome you all on board this training session. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Khan.
All right, take care.